Hello, fellow safety and health professional, and welcome to another podcast in a series of podcasts based on an article in Safety and Health magazine that's all about you. When visiting job sites, one of my favorite things to do is interact with workers. I enjoy doing the inspection, looking what's going on with the job, but I really like interacting with the folks doing the work. And as safety professionals, it's important that workers like and trust us. I'll tell you why in a minute. I've gone out of my way to be friendly to everyone I've worked with, getting to know them as people and not just as coworkers. Here are 3 advantages of building camaraderie at work. 1, it's fun. I find it so anyway. Building rapport can be fun if you approach it with the right spirit. I like to clown around a lot. If you hung out with me, you see I'm always, teasing, telling jokes. But not so much that it hurts my credibility or my ability to do my job, but enough to make people enjoy my visits. A few years ago, I worked with a crane operator who loved to fish. He went fishing most weekends and he loved to talk about fishing. And on Monday mornings, I'd find him and ask what he caught on his most recent trip over the weekend. When he'd finished telling me about the whoppers he snagged, I'd tell him a joke. We worked together often and had a great relationship. And knowing each other well helped us communicate better, especially during risky lifts when we had to lift things, that were exceptionally heavy or, in a place that was hard to move them. We did really good as far as communicating. Number 2, workers are more likely to tell you about problems in the field. If you like and trust someone, you're more likely to confide in them. Many times, workers would tell me about situations and challenges that they would not have told me if they thought of me as just a safety cop. Now, I acted on their concerns and never let work friendships stop me from handling situations properly and professionally. Number 3, when you visit job sites, people are glad to see you. Yes, they may still dive for their hard hat if they aren't wearing it, but in general, when workers like you, they're upbeat about your visits. They're also more likely to give you great information about the job, such as, what's going on well and what's not. And your visits are an opportunity to lift workers' spirits. I look more for this in a future column when I'm going to talk about how your mood and morale increases or decreases your risky behavior. One plant I worked at had 6 main departments, and there was 800 people that worked there. So there was no way I was getting to really know everybody at the plant. But I came up with a trick, I guess you could say. I would go to the break rooms during lunch, and on Friday afternoon, when people were getting ready to quit, I'd hang out at the break room again. So everybody saw me all the time. And I would sit with different people and clown around, like I just told you I do. So when I went out and was inspecting a job, people saw me. They knew me already, even if they hadn't talked to me when I was at the lunchroom. And here's something that's not typical. I've never seen another safety professional do this the way I used to do it. And I still do if I were to go back on a construction site. When inspecting a job, if I come upon a job, let's say trenching or building some scaffolding, who knows what, I start not by pointing out any violations or suggesting changes. Instead, I usually say something lighthearted, I see you guys finally started working, or something, silly. And I'd introduce myself to any workers I hadn't yet met. And then I would go around and shake their hands, introduce myself. Hi, I'm Richard Hawk. I'm the safety engineer on this job, or whatever, what title was at the time, safety coordinator. It surprised them. It always does. Try it. Go next time you go on a job site to do an inspection, rather than just, hi, how you doing, and doing inspection. Go around and shake people's hands. Talk to them for a little while. It's an easy social gesture that shows you're glad to meet someone. I enjoy people's reactions when I do it. Sometimes they're like, who is this guy that's doing this? Because it's not a typical move. See, early in my safety career, I focused on making sure everyone was following procedures. After I'd done all my schooling and everything and got my, certifications for different stuff, I was a little bit strict, I guess you could say, about making sure people are following the rules. But then it didn't take too long before I realized that wasn't as important as the relationships I developed with the people I worked with and for. I find it enjoyable interacting with coworkers, whether on a construction site, in an office building, or whatever. Just as importantly, it helps me do my job better. Procedures, rules, reports, permits certainly are a vital part of our work. But they're not the most important part. People are.